March 27th, 2013. And I'm not going to say much today other than to say that this whole thing with war around the world is really getting pretty bad. North Korea is making more threats. Of course, they do that all the time. Whether they're after something or, the leadership has to flex its muscle, I don't know. But things are getting very dangerous there. As I said the other day, it does look like North Korea is kind of out of control. The watchdog China isn't able to hold on to the rein tight enough. And, the New World Order and, the elites and all these people that try to control all this stuff, the banks, China and Russia want to keep North Korea ready as the trigger for war when they're ready, and they're not ready yet. And I really don't think that the New World Order or the elites are really ready yet either. They still have some things that they want to do. I'm not saying they couldn't speed up the time, to right away, but I don't think that's what they want. We're seeing the same thing in the U.S. The DHS denying that they're buying all these bullets, billions of them, just outright denying it, or saying that it's regular procurement, which it is not. And of course, the armored vehicles, maybe you saw some of that on Drudge Report here. There was a person who saw literally hundreds, it looked like to me, those DHS armored vehicles on a train in California headed east, I believe, with some other logistical type of vehicles as well. But it's definitely happening. So it's not just regular procurement, all right? But just like I said with China and Russia not really being ready for North Korea to take this leap, even though the rogue state probably will in one way or another. Same thing with the government of the United States. They're really not where they want to be right yet. They want to keep things churned up to get people mad, but I don't think that they're really ready for the trigger here yet either. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. Deception is one of the first arts of war. So just be aware that this thing is going on, but it may not happen right away. It may be that they want to put it off just a little bit, but be prepared anyway. Take advantage of the time to get more food, more water, whatever. Ammunition's kind of hard right now, and really you're not going to use this ammunition and weapons to fight the government. Don't even think you can do that. It's to make small, secure areas of friends and family where you can protect yourself against the masses that are going to be out in search of food and clothing and all this type of thing. I'm not saying the government isn't the enemy. They're actually architecturing, engineering all of this with the obvious control of the banksters. I really like that term. Behind them, pushing it all. You can see what's going on in Cyprus. People can't get their money. No money can leave the country. People are just panicking now. And that's going to travel to the rest of Europe. The Eurohead has already said that. Okay? So it's happening. Don't think that you're immune from it here. I said I was going to make this long. Okay, I'm not even going to get into what's going on in the Supreme Court right now, other than to say those are all sideshows. Okay, majoritarian coercion on a person's private life. I know you want to be a Christian nation, but you can't force anything on anyone as far as in their private life. So all this stuff going on with the gays and the Defense of Marriage Act and all that, that's all sideshow, people. Trust me. As much as you think that's important, and it is in your personal life, I'm sure, on the big scope of things, that is a diversion to keep you off the real subject. Just like the use of the race card in this whole thing about DHS. Again, I'm not saying that I agree with gay marriage. I frankly, in the Bible it says it's an abomination, okay? And the Defense of Marriage Act, one man and one woman, well, the patriarchs married several wives. So frankly, I think that they're just way out of control, even the government on that. And all these people fighting to want to institutionalize their particular religious preferences or personal preferences. Get away from it, okay? They're looking to kill you, all right? The government and the New World Order and the banksters are looking to eliminate you, and then all those arguments are going to mean nothing. I mean, if anything, the abortion argument is right, because that's killing innocent life. Even the person that first brought up the Roe versus Wade whole thing had a change of heart later. I don't know if you know that or not, but she did. And now she's very anti-abortion. But, that's a whole different thing. And, people want to control, prostitution and things like that. And I realize that, those things can get bad. Criminal conduct can occur. People can get hurt and things like that. But, again, we're trying to regulate people's personal lives by law. And, it's just going too far, all right? We need to come back to protecting individual liberty. Karma will take care of individuals in their private lives, okay? All right. The things that really hurt people, though, like murder, theft, stealing, those kinds of things, of course, But most people don't even understand what adultery meant in the Old Testament, in the Ten Commandments. It doesn't mean just sex. A lot of people say, well, that's fornication. Well, fornication even had a whole different concept, and I'm not going to talk about that here. Just to let you know that I don't want us to engage, I wish we would not engage in efforts at majoritarian coercion, meaning that and the courts have kind of adopted this, the social elevation or the social level of the community is what's enforced by law. That's really not good. The Constitution was supposed to stop that. Okay? So let's get back to the things that really matter. Okay? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Which brings me to the next point. I read the Patrick Henry speech the other day, and that lends itself to oratory, because that's what it was. And I thought about reading portions of the Declaration of Independence, and then I decided not to. And there's a reason. The Declaration of Independence is a document that you need to read. That's how it was produced. It was meant to be read. It was meant to be absorbed, and gone back to frequently, okay? So I have this, all right? And you can get these pamphlets just about anywhere. At the very least, you can go online. And I encourage you to read the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. No, they're not scripture, but I do think that they were written by inspired men who took their knowledge of history and politics and tyranny and individual liberty, the things all the way from William Wallace to the Magna Carta to this. And they put it together and they said, this is our best bet. And you know what? I think they're right. No, I know they're right. There's only one thing better than this, okay? And that's a government run by God himself. But you're going to have a lot of these antichrists claiming to be the Christ or God incarnate. We saw that in the Middle East here just, last week. So, we got to look forward to that, right? Okay, and hopefully it happens sometime pretty quickly. All right, well, that's enough for today on this. Thank you for listening, and we'll just keep our ear to the ground and our eyes on the horizon. Thanks. I have to add a little addendum here. I just got information about laws being passed to prevent sheriffs who refuse to enforce federal firearms laws or any law that would infringe on the Second Amendment. There are laws being introduced in states now that will require those sheriffs be fired. Now, that's kind of interesting. How do you fire an elected official? Well, that's why they put in all of these peace officer standards and training organizations, government control organizations over the police, because even a sheriff has to meet minimum standards, and one of the things they can use is he refuses to obey his oath of office and execute the laws of the state. So at any rate, I thought I'd bring that up. All those brave sheriffs that have come out saying that they will not enforce unconstitutional federal gun control laws, there are people that are trying to now cause them difficulty and get rid of our really good sheriffs. I'm telling you, the whole system is coming apart. This whole assault on the Constitution and individual rights is coming to a crescendo. If they do that to those sheriffs, I mean, that almost guarantees civil war. Almost absolutely guarantees it if they do that. The sheriff is our last bastion of protection against these kinds of encroachments by tyrants. Okay, enough for now. Bye.